Hey all, Chris Bassett here, and I've been playing a little GTA Online. I'll be going over some tips and tricks for the Cayo Perico Heist that I've learned since I've been a returning player. Let's get into it. I also have a brand new character full playthrough tutorial on the channel, so be sure to check that out. So after you spawn your Kasatka submarine in, come in here to the heist board. It costs $100,000 to start up the heist, and then you'll need to begin with the intel part of the mission. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give is get the Sparrow. It's 1.8 million and then another 600K for the homing rockets, but definitely get the helicopter. It's amazing. It'll help just, with the heist, outside of the heist. It'll cut down the time to get the heist completed. It's you can call it anywhere. It's simply an amazing investment. It's a pretty big deal when it comes to clearing out some of the enemies around the objectives. Just make sure you don't blow up the plane or the truck or the whatever's close by. So the rockets have a splash damage. And if you're wondering how to get the Sparrow helicopter, you need to go into your phone menu and then go to Warstock, and then you'll need to renovate the Kasatka. So here you can select the Moonpool vehicles and then click the Sparrow to purchase it. And then in order to upgrade the offensive and defensive capabilities, just come back to the Moonpool location inside your Kasatka submarine where the Sparrow is stored. Enter with the Y button, and then you'll see if you press right on the D-pad, you can modify your aircraft. From this menu, you can purchase a 50 cal minigun, the homing missiles, you can purchase some flares, or some defensive countermeasures. This next part, I've got a couple of tips for Cayo Perico investigation. So you'll land on the island like normal, the guard will stop you, and then he'll give you some free reign to go where you want. I usually come back to the warehouse and I check what's inside. I want to at least get a full bag to get the platinum reward, so I will check the bottom level and the top level to see what loot there is and if I can fill my bags up. If I can fill my bags up in this side, this is all I'll worry about. But there's been a couple times when I need to go across the yard and check the other area to fill up my loot bags. With all the runs I've done, I've been lucky enough to fill up my bag between these two locations. And at the end of the video, I'll show how I discreetly loot both spots without getting caught. Your main objective is to sneak to the communications tower, so I'd grab a dirt bike. It'll climb really steep hills, it's pretty easy to maneuver. There's one located at the fence there, and then there's one a little further down if you do happen to lose this first one. I generally start by just riding along the coast and avoiding any kind of soldier that's patrolling or security camera. You can tell by the red beep on the map, and then the cone of vision is the blue cone. There's also another bike that spawns right here, so you can just run down the shoreline, grab this if you happen to get spotted by the guards or lose it to the water. So continuing down the coastline, you want to make sure that you ride the coastline but don't get into the water. I believe the motorcycle will, be destroyed if it gets halfway into the water. So just keep an eye on the guards patrolling to your right side. There's a security camera up here as you round the bend. So hug the edge, and then you'll want to pause for a minute and watch this guard's patrol. This guard walks, east and west, and he will look out towards where you need to jump. So he'll walk down to this corner, and you'll need to come around, and you'll jump the bike right on this ledge here. You'll cross the water and then continue around. At this location, pause for a minute and watch this guard's cone of vision. He'll look out at the direction you'll be driving and could cause you to get caught. I'll go over that a little more as we get closer. So we're waiting for this guard to move out of the way, and we're watching him. And as soon as he turns the other direction and he's back a little ways, then you can proceed forward. Keep in mind the noise from the motorbike could also aware them. So you take your time, get around the edge. He's moving forward, and then we're safe to proceed. Now, as you approach the jump, what you'll do is you'll get, 10 to 20 yards away from it. Hold the accelerator, pull back on the stick, so you do a wheelie on the bike. Then your back tire will hit the concrete ledge and you'll bounce over. You want to make sure you're lined up nice and square, because if you're not, you could get a little squirrely and go into the water. So here I'm accelerating full speed, pull back, jump, and I wasn't perfectly square. I almost biffed it. So you want to line it up square. All right, we're going to position ourselves in the waiting area. So we're going to wait here, and then we're going to watch that guard's cone of vision, and you're going to jump up this hill right here. So the main thing to keep in mind while doing this is to watch the guard's cone of vision. As you approach the jump, pull back to perform a wheelie just like you did before. Hold the accelerator and you will clear the gap. There's been a couple times when I'm not accelerating enough or I don't pull back on the stick and I wipe the bike out to fall down the hill. Keeping an eye on the mini-map, I see that the guard is turned away, so I hold down the accelerator, approach the jump, and pull back on the stick and ramp to the other side. You also want to be mindful that there's guards all over the road. There could be trucks with guards passing by, so just watch your mini-map and, take your time, and then you should be safe. Okay, once we've cleared the jump, now we're going to want to proceed to the control tower. So you're going to need to weave your way in between security cameras and guards on foot, and then also guards in vehicle. So just watch the mini-map, make sure you are taking your time and you're not rushing it, because the guards do have a set pattern of when they turn to face you and when they look away. So if you need a second, just pause, open up the map, try to memorize what directions they're looking, where they are. Once you get the patterns down, then it will be safer for you to cross. So now I'll speed up the video and I'll show you the path that I normally take to get to the control tower. Just kind of zip through the fields, dodging in between security cameras and guards on foot. And once you get to the control tower, locate the box, do the mini game, and once you've passed the mini game, you can open up your phone, and the real objective is to just observe whatever's in this room. Once you see the big ticket item, I usually just climb up the ladder and kill myself. So by doing this, it instant warps you back to the plane at the airfield, and you don't have to try to walk back or drive back. Just press right on the D-pad and you'll go back to Los Santos. And then once you get the Intel Complete mission screen, I like to go into my preferences and make sure I have my spawn location set to Kasatka, and then go ahead and go over to online and go to find new session and invite only session. This will warp you right into the submarine. Now that we're back at the submarine, we've spawned in. Let's go ahead and go back up to the heist board, and we'll start the next mission, which is to collect the longfin. That boat is the fastest method on the island to get around. It's what everybody recommends. It's what I recommend. So we'll go up here, we'll start the longfin, and I've got a couple of tricks that make it just a little bit easier to acquire that boat. So once again, the Sparrow is going to be a huge help here. If you don't have it, we can still do a couple things, but I definitely push you to get the Sparrow as soon as possible. So the mission asks you to go to one of several police stations to acquire a impounded boat. All the locations are very similar in their gameplay, as it's an open area with lots of reinforcements, police, and with the homing rockets, you can shoot at the area to thin it out. So I always had trouble, when I went in there with the semi, I would die. But if you go now, you clear out the area, it'll be a lot easier to get the boat. Now keep in mind, the longfin can take 3 missiles without exploding. The 4th missile, it will explode. So just watch where you're shooting and you'll be okay. Next, you'll want to find the correct semi. So the one that's further away will be the Phantom Wedge. And in my opinion, that's a lot more fun because it flips cars out of the way. So I definitely go pick up the Phantom Wedge. Another thing I'd like to add is that there is a possibility that when you're shooting the rockets at the boat, it'll flip over. And if it does flip over, it'll spawn outside of the police impound lot. So that's an added benefit. I've had that happen a couple times where the rocket will the splash damage will push it out of the way, and then it'll spawn on the street. So then all I got to do is drive up to it. If you didn't want to risk blowing up the boat, you could use tear gas. Just drive up, throw a bunch of tear gas in the area, or a sniper rifle at distance. That would be another option if you don't have the Sparrow's homing rockets. Once you do thin the herd, you will gain wanted stars, so you'll need to, either fly up really high in the air or hide in a bridge or whatever. Your method of getting rid of the cops. You'll want to do that. And the big difference between the semi and the boat is the semi can't take a single rocket. So you'll need to be very careful if you're shooting rockets to thin out the guards around the Phantom Wedge. One rocket will destroy it, so you have to be extremely careful. So I usually try to just take out the vehicle that's on the opposite side of the Phantom Wedge and then go in with a rifle and take out the rest of the guards before collecting the semi itself. As I approach the police station, I like to pre-mark where I'll be driving. So I open up the map and I put a marker down on this point of the port, because we're heading down that way. That way it's just ready to go and I know which way to drive. And then another tip is to back in. Makes it a little easier to collect the boat. Also, if you still have wanted levels by the time you get down to the docks, just kill yourself, blow yourself up, die by the cops, and all that police force will disperse and you'll lose your wanted stars and you'll be able to finish the mission. Once you get the mission complete screen, I'd go ahead and make sure your spawn point is the Kasatka and then find a new invite-only session. At this time, you should be towards the bottom of the map. This may be a good time to move the Kasatka if you're in a land vehicle. If you don't have the chopper, you could drive it up this canal here and it makes it easier to access by foot. So from the main deck, just come up to the captain's chair and it'll give you the option to drive it. I think X allows you to fast travel and A allows you to actually physically drive it. I spent $2,000 to fast travel to the beach and it put me pretty close to here, but then you can just drive it like you would any other vehicle and scoot it in here till it beaches itself. Once you can't drive any further, you can then jump out and access this stairway to the left here, and it's pretty easy. Before I had the helicopter, I was driving back and forth here just to make the run a little faster. The next couple of missions are pretty straightforward. If you're doing the glass cutter, you take a picture of a board and then go kill some guys and fly it back to the Kasatka. And if you're doing the safe codes, you go to the casino, go to the basement, break into a guy's car, and then go up to the penthouse and then assassinate that guy, and then fly back to the submarine. Only thing I'd recommend is you do this in a private lobby, because each time you're going back to the submarine, if it's in a public lobby, other players will be notified and they may try to kill you. Something else I'd like to mention to the newer players that aren't familiar with the submarine and could help in between missions, you can replenish snacks. Snacks are the way to restore your health mid-gunfight. So just come down the stairs here and there is a pantry or a kitchen inside the submarine. You can approach this area and then restock or refill your inventory full of snacks. Something else worth mentioning is there are free weapons on the submarine. So I'm going to point out those locations. I'll speed up the video just a little bit, but if you come backwards towards the back, there's a rocket launcher in this area. There's also a pistol back in the pantry where you picked up the snacks on a back shelf. There's an assault rifle right here. And then towards the back, past the moon pool, there is a machine gun. Picking up these weapons will grant access temporarily to these weapons. So the RPG, for example, is level 100, and you'll have that in your inventory until you change sessions or log out. The next mission for the fingerprint cloner is also super straightforward. You just go to the area, break into the secured location, kill a couple guys, and then steal the fingerprint scanner. The one tip I'll give is the fingerprint cloner is generally towards the very back wall in the facility. Next on the list for the heist prep is the cutting torch. The cutting torch can be found in construction sites. There's 3 different locations, and I'll go over each location. I would recommend you come to each location, you find a hard hat. This hard hat will allow you to disguise yourself and just walk freely among the guards. The first location, I showed that hard hat. The second location is around the bush. Here's this hard hat. And then the third location, you can either enter on the ground level and take an elevator to the top, or just immediately fly to the top of the building, and the hard hat will be located up top. Once you put the hard hat on, it basically makes you invisible for, I don't know, if it's 2 minutes, there's a time limit, or if you bump into somebody. So if you're running and you stand in front of the guard too long, he'll notice you. If you bump into somebody, they'll notice you, or if you just take too long. But you'll want to walk around the construction site to different green arrows that are pointing in toolboxes. And in one of these random toolbox locations, you'll find the cutting torch. It has a bright blue handle, kind of looks like a drill. You just press right on the D-pad to pick it up and take it back to the submarine. Something I would like to mention is the Sparrow is excellent for clearing out the guards. In this particular location, the area is open, and it's really easy to hit the guards. You can just use homing rockets to clear them all out. The other two locations, they have a lot of cover, so it takes quite a while. So the hard hit method I'd use in the two locations, and the rockets I just use in this location. The next heist prep, you'll be collecting weapons. Every mission is easy and quick to complete, except the Merryweather HQ mission. Avoid that one at all costs. It'll have you follow a helicopter for 10 minutes, and then get into a big shootout in a big open area where there's no cover. So I just find a new session until I get the one that I want. Any of the other missions are great. You just fly a helicopter to the top of the building. Here's a location where helicopters will spawn. If you don't have a Sparrow, you can pick one up on the map. You have to be at least a level 11 for it to show up. But then you just take the helicopter and you proceed to the top of the building where you'll land on the roof. Park somewhere flat and enter inside. Equip a shotgun or something else to deal with the enemies. Just take everybody out. The same layup applies to the other 3 buildings, so they all look like your CEO office. Go back to this back panel, try to open it. It'll say no, perform a hack or whatever, so then you find the numbers on this laptop, and then you'll be able to access the wall safe, which then you can pick up the weapons and then leave the building. Make sure you press left on the D-pad to exit to the roof. I accidentally pressed right one time, went to the ground, and got killed. But here you'll just hop in the helicopter and fly away. It would be worth mentioning to maybe put on some body armor or eat some snacks, as you could die to those choppers. If you do shoot the choppers down, they just keep continuously respawning, so it's better just to armor yourself up and fly away. Alrighty, we're all done with heist prep. Don't forget to equip suppressors to your weapon and your loadout, and then we'll get started with the heist. Alright, here we are back at El Rubio's Island. We're going to rob him blind. So I'm going to speed up the video so we can get through this in a decent time. So once you come in on your boat, if you do hold the R1 button and then tap R2, you can make really sharp turns. That way you can maneuver the boat a little better. But I like to come up to this corner here and just barely put it on the land. Make sure you don't beach it completely. But then you'll run up to the storage shed at the back. Equip your suppressed pistol. I like to wait for this guy to get behind the Jeep before I shoot him, just in case, I don't know, somebody sees him. But then you'll come back to each of the areas and open the lock. It'll burn open, and then you want to prioritize your loot in this order. Cocaine first is the most expensive. Weed second is the second most expensive, and then piles of cash is third. If you put cocaine in your bag as a priority, you'll take home more loot. Hop in the forklift, lift it up with the L trigger, and then you want to lift all the way up till it's maxed out. Park it underneath this blue blanket, and then climb on the back of the forklift to enter the top area. You go ahead and open that up, and then take whatever loot is left. Like I said before in the beginning of the video, there's been a couple times where this area didn't have enough to fill up my bag, so I had to proceed to the other area. This time I had plenty, but I'll go ahead and show you what I normally do if that's the case. So you run over here, you watch the guard that's far away down this path, watch his vision, and when he turns, then you're safe to go. So jump right here, jump onto the roof, take out this guard when he's as far away as possible, and then take out this camera right here. Once the guard and the camera are removed, you're safe to run back here and then open this area if need be. You can then proceed to this part of the fence, climb back over, and then run back to your boat. In my experience, if you're ever discovered this early into the mission, I always just find a new session and just leave. It's incredibly difficult, almost impossible, to get the rest of the heist done without dying multiple times if the guards have been alerted. So I just restart the mission, just find a new session, and then start over. So then we'll go ahead and we'll take the boat back around the island's south side, and we'll enter through the drainage tunnel. If you didn't have the drainage tunnel as an option when you were choosing it from the menu, it's because you didn't discover it when you were on the first part of the heist. Refer back to that earlier video that I have a full walkthrough tutorial, and it shows you just how to find this and make it an option for entrance. But you'll dive off here and swim down to the bottom, perform a little mini game with the cutting torch where you cut through all the bars and then gain entrance to the compound. Once you're done with the mini game, you'll begin to suffocate. So you can either hold L1 to bring up your snack menu to replenish your health, or you can hit left on the D-pad to bring up a rebreather. You'll have these automatically when you do the heist. I thought you had to purchase them, but you get them. You get 20 rebreathers automatically. At the end of the tunnel, swim up towards the grate. You'll be prompted to press right on the D-pad to enter the compound. Once inside, I like to sprint up the stairs and then around this ledge. So you want to hug right on the fence. I kind of push into it with the joystick just a little bit, around the corner, jump this fence, and then wait here for a second. You're waiting for this guard to move. Once he turns and starts walking away, then you're safe to proceed up the stairs. Go behind him, proceed forward, go behind this guy, proceed up the stairs, and then wait at this door for this last guard to walk past you. You can easily sneak behind him. Once he stops there, just don't bump into him. Go ahead and go in the door. You'll pick up the key card, activate the wall safe, just press right on the D-pad, open the wall safe, collect an extra $50,000 to $100,000, and then you'll do the fingerprint minigame. You've got 5 minutes, so take your time. I always line up the top nub first, and then I just go sequentially in order, so top to bottom, and then I look above and I try to line up the next one, and you go, so it's like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that lines up the fingerprints. Once completed, you'll gain access to the treasure room in the basement. You'll just go ahead and burn open the lock, and then if you had the safe codes, you'll go to the left. Pavel will text you the code. You'll go ahead and enter the safe code and take the bonds. If you have the glass cutter, just proceed forward and hold the RT trigger. Tap it to cut the glass, but don't hold it for too long as it'll overheat. Once you collect your high-ticket item, go ahead and leave the same way you came in, and then we'll proceed back down the stairs, and we'll wait at this guard location. So you walk past that first guard, walk past the second guard, but hide behind the wall here just a second. Open up your map, expand it so you can see what's going on. So you'll want to wait for this guard to walk backwards out of the way. You also have a juggernaut in this area, so you want to make sure that guy walks forward, no other guards are looking towards you, then run towards the fence, jump this stone fence, hug the left, and then mantle the staircase. From here, take a left, but watch out, there's 2 guards to your left. So hug the right wall while watching their cones of vision. You don't want them to be too close. Proceed to the yellow circle and press right on the D-pad. That'll allow you to escape the compound. From here, use your suppressed pistol to take out the guard with the dirt bike, and then just ride that dirt bike off the most southern point of the island into the water. Just watch out for trees. You can run into a tree, it'll knock you off, but then just ride into the water. You can press left on the D-pad to bring up your rebreather, and then you just swim forward until you get a cutscene. Hey, check out some other videos over here. I've got some Amazon links down in the description. No extra cost, you can help support the channel. I really appreciate it. Any other questions or comments, put below. Thanks.